Darkseid is undoubtedly on his way to the DC Extended Universe to become its big bad, in much the same way Thanos is the big bad of the MCU. While audiences are excited for the Lord of Apokolips' arrival, we expect it might take a few years yet. And with that in mind, here are some theories about the Justice League villains who could appear in the DCEU before him. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's the best way of keeping up to date with all of ScreenRant's great new videos.
I am Darkseid.
A lot of people are expecting Darkseid to appear imminently in the DC Extended Universe, especially given that his most trusted general Steppenwolf failed in his assault on Earth in 2017's Justice League. But think about what happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thanos sent Loki and his Chitauri army to attack Earth way back in 2012's Avengers movie. And a long 6 years later, the Mad Titan truly made his presence felt in Avengers Infinity War.
I call that mercy.
Granted, he appears briefly before that, in the Avengers mid-credits scene, in 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy, and in the mid-credits scene of 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. But he didn't really do anything of note in the limited screen time he had in those movies.
There he is. Welcome aboard.
This theory suggests there might be the same kind of build-up for Darkseid in the DCEU, but which supervillains could play a part in that build-up? We already know that the Injustice League are coming to the franchise, as Lex Luthor was seen recruiting Deathstroke in the post-credits scene of Justice League, suggesting to him that
Shouldn't we have a league of our own?
we also already know that a number of iconic supervillains are on their way to the DCEU.
Something tells me a whole lot of people are about to die.
Several already exist in the franchise, of course, but we can probably rule out the Suicide Squad, for example, ever going toe-to-toe with Superman and company for a couple of reasons.
They're bad guys. Worst of the worst.
First, they're just not on the same level power-wise, and second, they're being presented as likable anti-heroes, so it's unlikely that Warner Brothers would want to see the two fan favorites fighting. The likes of Ocean Master and Black Adam are definitely on their way to the franchise, and they could certainly end up joining the Injustice League, assuming that they aren't killed off in the movies that they appear in beforehand. But how will that aid in the build-up to Darkseid?
I exist.
Well, let's look to 2013's Man of Steel for a potential clue. Director Zack Snyder took advantage of the hectic pace of the movie's fight scenes to include a number of Easter eggs that really required viewers to hit the pause button to properly catch them. One of those Easter eggs was the letters WGBS on a brightly lit sign on a building. Anyone familiar with DC's comic books will know that WGBS is a daily news show owned by the Galaxy Broadcasting System, the president of which is a man called Morgan Edge.
This is the last place I expected you to show up.
In post-crisis DC continuity, Edge was the villainous leader of the Intergang Group, a criminal organization who were sponsored directly by key figures on Apokolips, the home world of Darkseid. Given that we know Lex Luthor is aware of Darkseid's existence, it's probably fair to say the pair have communicated. You may remember at the end of 2016's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Luthor said,
"The bell's already been rung."
And he's coming!
and it's hard to believe he was only talking about the rather underwhelming Steppenwolf when he used the word he. And if Luthor and Darkseid are in communication with each other, it's hard to believe Darkseid doesn't have Luthor on strings.
Answer me!
Could it be that Darkseid is the sponsor of Luthor's Injustice League in the DCEU? And given that the presence of WGBS on Earth would suggest Darkseid already has some men on the ground on our planet, the likes of the aforementioned Morgan Edge and potentially his fellow apocalyptian Glorious Godfrey, could it be that those guys are working with Lex Luthor, bringing the Injustice League together to tenderize the DCEU's heroes in preparation for the coming of Darkseid in a later movie? It would be a perfect contingency plan after the failure of his nephew Steppenwolf to get the job done. And it would show that Darkseid is intelligent enough to have backups in place. And intelligence is often as dangerous as raw power when it comes to comic book villains. Just look at the fact that Lex Luthor is a genuine threat to Superman for proof of that.
Ow! Wow, that is a good grip.
If that is indeed the case, an Injustice League consisting of Luthor, Deathstroke, Black Adam, Ocean Master, Morgan Edge, and Glorious Godfrey, plus some other recruitments that we'll be seeing made along the way, would certainly be a lot for Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and company to deal with. Combined, the villainous group brings raw power, combat skills, strategic skills, genius intellect, business acumen, media influence, connections on Earth, in the ocean and in space, mystical power, advanced technological power, and above all else, a heck of a lot of evil ruthlessness.
What we have here is a rare opportunity.
Seeing the Justice League going up against that Injustice League would be awesome, and it would certainly be a fitting prelude to their climactic battle with Darkseid. Then, after the heroes ultimately defeat the evil group, the Lord of Apokolips would likely come to Earth, having seen the team he sponsors fail him, while the heroes were tired and depleted in order to take what he sees as his rightful position as the planet's ruler. The whole sponsorship thing, the big bad having had a major influence on the coming together of a supervillain team before his big arrival, would be unique and refreshing as far as comic book movies go. We've never seen anything like that before.
I am the god of gods.
Loki and the Chitauri failed Thanos before the Mad Titan arrived on Earth, but he hadn't exactly invested much thought and certainly no money in bringing them together before he did so. This theory would see Darkseid extremely ticked off, more so than Thanos was, as he actually seemed very calm about his underlings' failings.
I'll do it myself.
Which would make him incredibly dangerous to the heroes of Earth, bearing in mind that the massive levels of power he possesses make him dangerous, regardless of what kind of mood he's in. It's an intriguing theory, and although we're very excited for the coming of Darkseid in the DCEU, his arrival would be far more satisfying if we were made to wait a little bit longer than we expected to for it.
And when the time comes, you will swear allegiance to Darkseid.
And that's the end of our video. Which Justice League villains do you think will come before Darkseid in the DCEU? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to ScreenRant for more great videos like this one. Bye for now.